The Olsinski Law Firm is an official sponsor of Top Bin 90, specializing in personal injury, criminal defense, DWI, family law, and workers' compensation. The Olsinski Law Firm provides professional, trusted legal services to clients facing a variety of challenges. With a team of experienced attorneys dedicated to protecting your rights, the Olsinski Law Firm is the legal support you can count on.
Hi, I'm Justin Olsinski, the founding partner of the Olsinski Law Firm. Me and my wife started this firm back in 2010 with the sole purpose of providing excellent service to our clients, giving our clients a personal touch because we had worked in bigger firms where we saw that not happening. We handle criminal defense matters, civil personal injury, wrongful death, workers' comp, and family law matters. We have a team of attorneys that care about the outcome of your case, and we will fight to make sure that you get the justice you deserve.
Hello, and welcome to the Top Bin 90 podcast. Jorge Gonzalez, your host. I want to say this is episode, I got it right here, episode 38 of the podcast. We are coming, unfortunately, after 2 Charlotte FC losses. We were so excited. Brian said we were going to win everything. Supporter Shield, he said MLS Cup, and he went camping and the team derailed. So with that said, I'm going to present the co-host of this podcast, Mr. Brian Baumauer Media. How are you today?
Yeah, I feel like the last time we were on, Vaughn was talking about how like 60 points is like all you need to do, all to get this stuff. And now since then, now we literally can't get 60 points. So,
all right, so I blamed you and then you blamed Vaughn.
Let's pass it around, the blame.
Yeah. And then we also have Mr. Justin Olsinski from the Olsinski Law Firm on today. How you feeling?
Well, I mean, I've felt better coming in to talk about Charlotte FC, but I guess the bad games have to be talked about as well.
Yeah, I was like, we'll get him on a high, and then boom, 2 losses in a row. So we'll get into that tonight. We're also going to discuss, Charlotte FC's top 4 hopes. That's taking a big derail. We'll touch a little bit on DC as well, and a lot of suspensions that happened this past weekend. So we'll get into all of that. But first, I want to talk a little bit about the event that I got a chance to attend yesterday, and that was Brant Bronico's fundraiser. So this is his 4th annual fundraiser. And, it was pretty cool because this event started 4 years ago, and Brant partners up with Beds for Kids. And so he raises a lot of money for a charity here locally. And so I really like that when players get a chance to get involved, and do some really cool things in the community. It's a really cool thing to see. I mean, Brant Bronico, I think I mentioned this, he'll definitely be a Charlotte FC legend one day. And so I love seeing that he, contributes and makes giving back to the community such an important thing. And so Cisco, who is our MC, is also here. Cisco, is there anything you want to say? He said he didn't want to be on camera because he might get DMs from women. So
yeah, we can't do that. No, it was a great event. I really enjoyed being a part of it some way, somehow, showing my skills, capturing every moment that I could. It was a really good event. It's done for a very good cause, like you said. It's a local organization as well, and this is like his 4th year doing it, so it was pretty great.
Yeah, and we got to see a lot of the Charlotte FC players. Zaha was out there, Ashley Westwood. So a lot of the key figures of the team were out there. So it was a great event. I'm not a good golfer, so I definitely didn't get on there. We went to Orlando last year, and you guys clearly saw that I wasn't a good golfer. So
it didn't train any harder between then and now, huh?
We got a podcast to do, bro. I don't have time to go to the range.
Listen, I do want to say, where can you get those shirts, like those mayor shirts? Those
you
are pretty
can,
sick.
yeah. So Glory Days actually sells them.
Okay,
so
cool.
I tried to get one, but my size was already like sold out. So I was like, dang.
Yeah, those aren't some nice shirts for sure.
Limited edition, huh?
Yeah.
Dang.
Justin, how's your golf game?
It's been better, but pretty good.
Okay. I feel like when people are like humble about it, they're pretty good. It's like, I'm all right.
What did they tell you at the event when you asked them if they were good at golf? They were like, "Oh yeah, I just won a tournament last week."
Oh yeah, Mike, who also is like a big part of it. Yeah, I was like, "How's your golf game?" He was like, "Not bad. I just won a tournament." I was like, "All right, bro." Like, he said it casually too, and so yeah, so great event. I just wanted to highlight that. You know, it's always good like seeing these guys give back to the community, and so I love stuff like that. I mean, if it wasn't for Charlotte FC, most of us wouldn't even. All of us here in this room would not even know each other. You know, so pretty cool thing, right? All right, let's get into it. Let's talk about Charlotte FC. Unfortunately, like we mentioned, another loss, you know, against CF Montreal. You know, the winning streak started against New York, and now it feels like a losing streak started against New York. I'm going to get your thoughts first, Brian.
Yeah, it's been kind of a wild couple of games. I mean, obviously the 2 penalties against New York and then the red card in the first 15 minutes against Montreal. This last performance was shocking to me, to be honest. You couldn't have asked for a better setup to finish the season after winning 9 straight.
Yep.
And look at just the stretch of games they had. I mean, New York on the road is not the easiest place to play. We talked about that, but their form hadn't been super consistent. Now they've won 6 of 8 since then. So, but having Montreal at home, having DC on the road, these are 2 teams at the bottom of the Eastern Conference and 2 teams that have given up a ton of goals and aren't scoring a whole lot. So it's like you couldn't have asked for a better setup to finish the year and really kind of just lock in a spot up the table, and for them to fall like this, it was. Rarely am I completely shocked by a Charlotte FC performance over the years, but this one truly just floored me in terms of I just couldn't believe the outcome, especially after the red card, being up 1-0. Everything seemed like it was just
smooth sailing.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a nice doing business today. 3 points, you know.
Yep.
Justin, you know, you're up 1-0, and then Melanda makes just.
Yeah,
I don't know what kind of what he was thinking.
I felt it was a lazy decision. Like I've seen him chase that ball. All he had to do is turn his shoulder. He wasn't beat. He chose to be beat by just turning and making a lazy challenge. Like he could have just run him shoulder to shoulder. He was maybe half a step behind him. He wasn't going to be able to get the shot off. We've seen Melanda do that time and time again. That's his strength.
Yeah.
Because he's got long strides and he covers a lot of ground. And for some reason, he chose the easy way, which was to make a insane challenge that if he doesn't make it, leads to his red card. And I was thinking it's kind of like when we play bad, it's when Melanda makes stupid mistakes. I mean, that's when we lose. Like, I mean, we talked 2 years ago when he was still developing. I mean, that's what he's developed as a player, is just not making those mental mistakes.
Right.
And when we see the losses pile up, when we had that losing streak this season, he was playing poorly, making mistakes. I think he's kind of the momentum of the team. When he plays well, we're a dominant team.
Yeah, I mean, it could have even. Let's say he did get beat. Just let them score, bro. 1-1. It's what, minute 20 of the game, right? Like, there was no need, because it really just changed up the whole vibe, the whole, you know, momentum and trajectory of that match. You know, because we were all expecting 3 points from this game. You know, and then it caused Dean to make a quick sub and put Andrew Privet in, and so and you know, we go up 1-0. Ironically, they suffered another foul within that same area, and then they scored. What did you make of the free kick?
Dante Seeley's goal?
Yeah.
I mean, as a worldie. I mean, props to him for drilling it in that spot, because at that point in the game, it looks like there's a chance for Charlotte to kind of skate by, still staying up 1-0 in the first half, which I actually think at that point, you're feeling decent.
I agree.
You go into the half up 1-0. Now a lot more of that pressure shifts to Montreal. Obviously, they don't really have anything technically to play for, but being down a goal with only 45 minutes, they would be feeling like we should be in this game. We should be having an opportunity, and we're still down a goal. I think pressure would build over time in that second half for Montreal to try to like kind of just get kind of carried away and just have an opportunity for Charlotte to kind of just lock that performance in and just get out of there with a win or at least a draw. But being 1-1, I feel like Montreal goes into the half super comfortable. Like, well, we're going to have a whole 45 minutes to just go at Charlotte. Right. We're going to find an opportunity for a second. It's a completely different comfort level, I would imagine, being a visiting team up a man at half.
Yeah, Justin Dean Smith said that a big portion of that halftime talk was like, hey, guys, stay compact, stay concentrated. 10 minutes into the second half, they go up 2-1. So you talk about like those small details, right? And, these last 2 games, I feel like we've been losing in those small details.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And you see, too, is how a team responds and their continuity when they go down a man. I mean, you see teams respond and they're actually better when they have that extra space. Maybe not defensively, but they have a better passion. The guys are running a little bit harder. I felt like after that, we dropped back compact, but we also didn't push anything forward. We lost any momentum going forward, really a counterattack or anything. And, I mean, it didn't help that the ref wasn't calling anything on Zaha was fouled, 35 times. And there should have been persistent infringements multiple times to put some guys on yellows that the ref just clearly was out of his depth.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at halftime, Dean Smith went up and talked to the refs, and then after the match, I vividly remember, Tim Ream was pissed off. He went talked to the refs. They were pulling Kalina off of, like saying, "Hey man, you need to chill," And so you could tell that there was a lot of frustration from the players, right? Just because they know how big of a deal this is. And so I actually have a quick clip that we'll play from that press conference.
What got you the most? What was the most frustrating?
Listen, he's given a sending off. It looked like the ball was nowhere near him. It's a foul, but he's give a yellow card and then he's changed it. But for me, it's Wilf's got kicked 5 times, Kerwin's got kicked 5 times, and we're not allowed to go and talk to him. So that's my biggest frustration. I mean, we get told before the season's even started, 4 fouls on 1 man, it's a yellow card, but we never see that happen. So that's my biggest frustration. We have to sit in meetings for hours in pre-season and we get told the rules. And then we see week in, week out that it changes. And listen, that's my only frustration. It's our players are getting kicked. Tonight you can look at the stats 5 times and they get 1 yellow card. So that's our frustration, but that's my run over. We've lost the game. And it's as simple as that. We need to go and win 2 games now to put ourselves back on track.
I mean, it was a hell of a free kick, to be honest. But, that can happen. It was the second goal that disappointed me because if we'd stayed compact like we spoke about at half-time, stopped crosses, I mean, they have a free cross and a free header. That shouldn't happen. If you stop that the last 10 minutes and it's 1-1, I would expect us to go and win the game because I think they would get frustrated then.
All right, so you heard from first Ashley Westwood and also Dean Smith, and so how much of a point does Ashley have, Brian? He talks about being in these meetings. Sure, was that a red call in Malanda? Absolutely, unfortunately, right? Yeah. But also, like, you could tell by how this game went that, it felt like Charlotte was being hard done, like Justin just mentioned.
Yeah, but it's just, for me, it's just a minute point. Once the red card is done, that's in the 15th minute. I mean, they're up against it. I'm not one to, I mean, I think I've made my stance pretty clear pretty regularly throughout the season. I've written articles about it. I think I even called Dean out on, like, this is not how, like, we would see greatness be done. I think it comes down to getting results no matter what kind of the situation is and what the situation is calling for. Their 3 losses at home this year have been Montreal, New England, and Chicago.
Insane.
Right? So, and 2 of those are 4-1 losses. So, like, there's only so much you can put on a ref for that. I mean, those are the drop points that are probably going to cost this team the place that they need in this season. So, I'm not willing to see that that's the reason for this result. Could it be some frustration? Sure. If you want to say there's some frustration there from the team, but there's too many other reasons why they could have done something different that it's just overpowering.
Do you think there was a play on the psyche though? Because it just felt like it was just chippy, even when it was 1-1, even when it was 2-1, where necessarily you're not like the game's not done, right? But you're still down.
This is the 14th seed in the Eastern Conference. You're gonna let them play mind games with you?
It's a good point.
Like, let's get real. It's the 14th. They're one of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference, and they let them get to them. I mean, do you want to be real? Do you want to be a top 4 team or not? I mean, that's what it comes
Damn.
down to at the end.
Let them know, Justin.
I would say, I would say they're. I mean, I wasn't putting it on the official. Certainly, it was poor officiating. I don't think anyone's debating that. Their effort and their mental toughness just isn't there. When they face adversity, you saw that as paramount in this game. They crumble. I mean, they just crumbled. Mentally, they're getting into fights for no real reason. And, they're not trying. I mean, at the end, the last 20 minutes, they weren't even trying. I was screaming in the stands for Dean to get, Toklamati. And Toklamati had stopped trying for a good last 20 minutes of the game. They should have put on They should have put on Goodwin.
Archie
Put someone in there who has something to play for, and who was the other one who needed to come out? I think it was Bronico, but not because Bronico doesn't hustle. It's just because we needed fresher legs to try and change the game. But they just kind of gave up the last 20 minutes.
And
Michael says 19 fouls and 1 yellow for Montreal, Brian.
Sure. I mean, I'm not saying that it wasn't. It's just not the reason why they're in this spot. I'm not gonna see because of the refs. This team. It's like saying that if Charlotte had just gotten through that the playoff round last year, they would have made it all the way to the final because they would have had home field. It's just these kind of hypotheticals are just not. There's just no point to them. It's like, okay, could the ref have had a bad performance? Yeah, sure. But you're still a team that's supposed to be pushing for top 4, and you're still going up against the 14th seed at home. It shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
It just really shouldn't matter. And the fact that it did, I mean, there's and I think what's more frustrating about this game specifically compared to previous situations where they've put themselves in decent spots is you already handled a lot of the pressure.
Yeah.
You handled the Miami game at home. You handled 9 straight.
That's a great point.
To actually get through. You did the hard part. This was the cakewalk.
Well, it could be the hard part is staying up for the lower teams.
Yeah,
I mean,
guess,
you could
but-
even when we scored the first goal, and you
It felt
Jorge,
like it
you
was
said
routine.
It felt
Yeah.
routine and like it was an inevitable 2 or 3-0 win.
Yeah.
Until Melanda made that tackle, and then things like, oh well, maybe it's gonna be different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even then, at that point, there's still an opportunity to be the compact team. Now, it's harder to go out and get a win down a man. Up 1-0, you're capable. If you're the better team, you're capable of at least preventing the goal against. Right? You can, brace yourself for extra volume against and find a way to stay compact enough to at least get the result. And the fact that they Montreal was just all over them. And this is not a good attacking team, right?
Yeah.
Dante Seeley is their best player right now.
Yep.
So,
Prince scoring, putting the crown on his head too. I'm like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Oh man, I agree. I think one of the things it's pretty funny because we were talking with Aaron, shout out to Aaron on our team, before the game. And he was like, I don't know, I want to see this team be a little bit more emotionally mature. I was like, well, tonight will tell us a little bit about that. And it definitely told us something. But I don't think it's the answer that we want to hear. Do you see that as an issue, Justin? Maybe the team being a little too emotional? To be fair to these guys, the media is asking them these questions, so it's not like they're going out of their way to, but me, Carol, everybody in that room, we're going to ask about, if I see, Kalina and Tim Ream upset at the refs and they have to get pulled back, I'm going to ask Dean Smith about it. So,
yeah, I feel like we have mature leaders, but Zaha is a hothead. He's getting fouled all game, pretty much every game, because he loves contact, and they're not going to call it all the time. And he's going to be fouled a lot more than he's going to get calls for. That's inevitable. But he's always angry. He's always angry on the pitch at the official. So he kind of doesn't show the maturity that we would need from a veteran leader. Ashley Westwood kind of gets hot pretty quick too. Tim Ream's probably Tim Ream and Kalina are the only emotional leaders that I feel like genuinely keep their cool when
Yeah,
things like,
that's a
especially
good
Tim
point.
Ream,
Yeah.
like he needs, this is why we signed him, right?
Yeah.
He needs to step up that leadership and be like, keep this team under control when things go south.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure Tim Ream was, based on like the video, I'm pretty sure he was calling the refs embarrassing. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that was the wording he was using, maybe even worse than that. But I mean, yeah, they were just and at that point, down 4-1, losing the game. I understand the frustration boiling over. It's during the game. It's when you have an opportunity to at least get out of there with a point. You have an it's like that's when you got to really lock in and find a way to get the job done. And I think even Dean kind of mentioned that. Hey, I talked to him at halftime. Stay compact. They didn't do that job, right? So missing those assignments in those key moments, I mean, that's going to be make or break during a playoff series, especially if they now, by the looks of it, have to go on the road potentially twice to be able to get what they need to do and get out of the first round.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about our top 4 chances here in a second, but just finishing off on this point, like to me, it feels like sometimes this team like needs to have their back against adversity to actually perform really well, right? Because we're not expecting 9 wins in a row, and boom, we're like, okay, like you said, like 3 games to go, 4 games to go. Okay, let's get 8 points, 7 points, and we're good. And bam, now 6 are left, So
it's a bold strategy. being counted down and out is not generally the way you want to go into trying to go an MLS Cup run.
Well, I like to look at the positive. You can only win so many games in a row.
Yeah.
So if we had won the last 3 and we're coming on a 12-game win streak, we're destined to fall off in the playoffs. Sometimes you just need a loss to reinvigorate yourself.
Or two.
Losses are possible.
that's funny. All right, let's talk about how this loss impacts Charlotte FC's chances to finish in a top 4, right? And so I want to pull up the here we go. So if we look right now, obviously you got Philly up top, right? They've got 63 points, Cincy at 59, New York and Miami at 56, Charlotte at 53 with 32 games, Nashville at 53 with 32 games, Orlando at 52 with 31 games, so they've got a game in hand. Columbus are 3 points off of us with 32. Even, ironically, freaking Chicago, if they win, they'll be, 2 points away from us. Yeah. So while we were talking about a top 4, there's a chance that we could finish in a wild card match, which is insane, And so obviously some of these teams have to play each other, right? And so I was going to come in here because I fully thought that we were going to win this match and talk about how the smart play is Philly, Cincy, and Miami have a top 3, right? And then Charlotte's chasing 4th. But Miami didn't win either, but I think they're pretty set in a top 4, right? I mean, technically, they could still win the Supporters' Shield, right? But, I mean, when you look at this, and I'll start off with you, Justin, what are the chances you're giving us for a top 4 finish?
I'd say slightly above 0. I mean, maybe 1%. I just don't see. Yeah, the loss was elimination. We're not even talking. We're talking about, can we just get a good matchup that we can win in the first round? And I don't want to play New York City because I hate that stadium. I don't know if you guys did a podcast of the New York. There's something. I mean,
the baseball field.
The MLS has to do something about that field. That is awful. It should never. And it's horrible to watch. Like the camera angle and everything. It's just a horrible experience.
Watching a college soccer game.
It's just a horrible experience for everyone, and they should not let them into a playoff until they can get actual home field. They shouldn't even let them in the league until they actually had a stadium lined up. It's one thing to have a football stadium. It's another. You're playing on a baseball. That's just ridiculous. I know they wanted that money in New York City, but it's tough to play in that short of a width of a field, and then to watch it. It's horrible for the fans.
Yeah.
That was just my rant.
Yeah.
That was good.
No. I mean, I agree. Obviously, like, to me, it's like, okay, if this was 2011 MLS, sure, like it happens, right? But I mean, it's 2025. Like, I know they're building a stadium, but they should have found like some sort of solution in the meantime.
Yeah.
And so, but okay, going back to
They couldn't play at the Jets and Giants Stadium. I mean, come on.
My one qualm with debating it is that like Charlotte has played on football lines and had to have a home game in Houston for a Beyonce concert. So like the one that's like the one problem is that Charlotte kind of has their own issues on the stadium front. But back to the game, or just the situation of getting in the top four. I mean, they definitely put themselves up against it. I mean, they have to get 3 against DC this next week, and then even then at home against Philly, who just came off of a 6-0 win against DC. They're going to be feeling good going into they're going to be very motivated because they have Supporters Shield on the line for them. They can clinch it over the next couple of games, and so it's a tough ask. Even if Charlotte wins out, there's a decent chance, I would say, that they still can't get top 4, even if they win out. I mean, it looks like 60 points is going to be right around the bar. 59, probably the minimum to make top 4, if not 60 or more. So there's a chance that Charlotte can't do anything about it. And that's a tough spot to be in. They weren't in that before this game. So at this point, I think it's just you get the result against DC and see where the chips lie and do everything you can not to drop further down the table. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. You can't be in a situation on decision day where Chicago has a chance to catch you.
right.
That's like bottom line. That's got to be the bar. Like you got to stay in around the top 5.
And then it also speaks volumes to where the East is right now. This is such a hard conference to be in. Where Chicago, who you talked about, no one's talking about Chicago.
They're a sleeper team.
Yeah, and they've been on a rise. I mean, Miami, for whatever people think of them, right, can still win a Supporters Shield. And so I just think it becomes very, very tough for Charlotte. And I mean, I'm praying that we finish in a 5th spot, but like we were talking about, 4th is going to be. It's almost unrealistic at this point to expect for this team to finish top 4. And I think you said it before, 2 weeks ago when we did a pod, that, statistically teams that make MLS Cup finals, are a top 4 team. New York Red Bulls last year was an exception.
Yeah, there's 3 times since 2012 that a non-top 4 team has made an MLS Cup final, and none of them won. So it puts yourself up against it. I mean, that's just when you're in a salary cap league where any little advantage, magnifies. Something like home field, not having to travel, all those things, just magnify. And throughout the course of a tournament, I mean, they're just going to be up against it, right? But like you said earlier, this team seems to play better when they're up against it. So maybe this is what they needed. This is the reverse psychology.
Maybe they need that playing that wild card.
Hey,
don't,
guys.
Don't tell me the odds.
It's all doom and gloom, so nah. But having said that, who do you guys see as finishing in that top 4? Do you think it stays like it is right now? Maybe Orlando sneaks in.
I was going to say Orlando for me is a sneaky team, and they have a pretty favorable stretch. I mean, they've got Columbus at home. Vancouver at home is tough. Vancouver's home, but by the time they play Vancouver, they might not really have too much to play for. And Vancouver has got to be getting to the playoffs healthy because this is for them a year where they should be really making a deep run. And so their priority, if they can't win the West, is going to be getting to the playoffs healthy. So there's a chance that Orlando has a lot more to play for in that game. And then they have Toronto on the road for decision day. So for me, Orlando is definitely a dangerous team that could sneak into the top 4. And that I've talked about them since this last year. I think they're a really well-built team and really well-coached team. And they got Martin Ojeda. So,
Dustin?
Yeah, I would think it's going to finish with the same 4, just Miami jumping up 1 or 2 spots and New York City landing the 4th. And then, hopefully, actually in that scenario, I hope we drop past the 5th so I don't have to watch a New York City home game.
Yeah.
See, I actually think there's a decent chance New York City falls out. They have to play Philly on the road, and they got to play Seattle at home. Those are 2 tough games, and Seattle's going to be pushing pretty hard through. So
Orlando's got some tough games too.
Orlando, no, I just broke them down. Columbus is okay. Everybody's seen Columbus like Columbus is not a tough team. They have won one game since Leagues Cup, and that was a 5-4 win at Atlanta, and they almost lost that game. They were up 5-0. Okay, Columbus is not in good shape right now. They have both their DPs are out for the year, Rossi and Abu Ali. Columbus is a cakewalk right now. Orlando should smoke them in that game.
All right. Well, we said we would smoke Montreal.
Yeah.
That's for those of you betting.
I'm just reverse psychologying this whole thing. Really, this is how Charlotte gets into top 4.
Nice. Okay, awesome. Let's move on and let's talk a little bit about DC United then. We had, again, another game that we should win, right? But we're on the road. But now it starts off with, we have a lot of key suspensions going into this game. You're missing Adilson Malanda. You're missing Ashley Westwood. You're missing Brant Bronico, right? And so these are a lot of key players, right? And like we talked about,
That's a lot of our leadership.
it is a lot of our leadership, one, and two, could some of these yellows have been preventable this last match is what I'm going back to.
Now, this is where you have a qualm with the refs in terms of just moving forward. I think this is where you could have a bit of a qualm with the refs, is how it sets you up for this game here. Not about your performance against Montreal. The yellow cards seem, a little bit less just, right? When you're looking at this last match, and so how it sets you up against DC is tough. They're definitely up against it. I mean, this is their spine. This is Malanda, who's their anchor on the back line, and then your two best runners, right? And then also Westwood. We've talked about him over and over and over again. He's probably a top 3 player on this team in multiple traits. So to have both of them gone in a key matchup, DC is obviously not a good team. They just lost 6-0 at home. This should be a game. It doesn't really matter who Charlotte throws out there. They should be able to get a result. But that's what we were thinking before this last game.
Yeah.
So anything's really up in the air at this point, I would say. I mean, we've talked about Eric Williamson a decent amount this year, and what's his role
My
with
MVP,
this team,
bro.
right? Here's the moment. This is a huge moment for him to just show that he's on a contract year, right? So this is a moment where he could earn a contract.
Yeah,
in this game.
his time's pretty much running out, you know, so he has to
His one. This might be his one chance to earn a contract next year, because I'm pretty sure he's on a completely expiring contract, no option. So this is a big moment for him, the biggest moment of his season right now. I still don't think, obviously, Pep Biel's still hurt, so don't think there's a chance that we see him. And honestly, you got to save him for the playoffs at this point. After coming back, going out with a different injury, you can't even chance it.
Yeah.
You just got to get into the playoffs with Biel. And so, at that point, who else are you kind of looking at? Maybe Petkovic? It's just it gets tricky.
Yeah.
It gets tricky what that midfield looks like. Not a lot of cohesion, not a lot of experience, especially down the stretch. It's tricky.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up to Justin. Obviously Milan is a big miss, but, you could throw Privet in there, and that back four seems decent, right?
Yeah.
Now, that midfield's what really worries me, No Pep, no Brant, no Westy, and so that's the whole leadership of that midfield's gone.
Yeah, I feel like you almost have to change the formation to I don't think we have someone who fits the qualities that we're used to seeing in that game. Because like you said, if Petkovic steps in, I don't think he is a 1-for-1 for Ashley Westwood. In any stretch, he's more of an attacking player, and he's not going to be able to drive. And, Williamson hasn't shown me any
Indications?
any indication that he's going to be able to go forward and create anything and do anything offensively. So now you have Diani and Williamson. Those guys aren't producing any offense. Someone needs, because Westwood makes it all work.
Yeah.
From a deep lying midfield, he makes the passes work. 2-line passes, he creates the offense. We don't have that without him, and no one's going to be able to step in. So Petkovic is probably just going to have to run higher up the field, I would imagine. Yeah. And you're just not going to, you're going to miss over the top, and it's going to have to be a more fluid versus more direct.
And you lose your presser, right? Because Bronico had been playing an advanced pressing role alongside Toklamati off the ball, 4-4-2 with Toklamati and Bronico both like leading that pressing line.
Yeah.
You lose that. I don't think you have a replacement for that on this team. And so you're completely changing your mentality, how you have to approach this game, because you're just not going to be able to press the same.
It's also very telling too when the first sub of the match when you're down a man is Diani instead of Ashley or Brandt. That just shows you how crucial they are to the team, right? And so that's what worries me the most. The midfield. I think we could get by with the defense, right? Privet's experience. The front three isn't changing anytime soon, at least. I mean, Abada hasn't really come in and showed us that, like.
Well, you could maybe try and do something crazy. Put Zaha
at the
for
10.
Westwood, and then put Abada out on the wing.
Yeah.
I mean, because if anyone's creative, Zaha's the most creative player we have, and he's the only one who's making these passes to make the offense run.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could play him at a number 10 and kind of change that offense.
That'd be interesting if Dean lines up like that. And so, Brian, what do you make of DC? A team that like really isn't playing for much, But Montreal wasn't playing for much.
No. Sometimes, you just need a little bit. For these teams, we might see like they're not playing for much, but these guys still have contracts on the line, right? They still have. Sometimes they have something to play for, and like I think that's what we saw in Montreal. Was like Dante Seeley knew he was like probably in the negotiations on the backside of this. One of their leading goal scorers found something to play for, right? And I think that's just what. DC is, if they have something to dig deep and play for, it comes down to how you come out of the gate, I think. If you score a goal or two early, then eventually, you kill the game off because they're not going to have the mentality to fight back because, like you said, they don't have anything to play for. They might have something they feel like they can play for at 0-0, but if you get 1 up, 2 up, now you kind of kill the game off because how much fight do they really have to try to get and will themselves back into a game? Yeah,
they'll start being like, not this again. You know what I mean? That mental fatigue. This is what we do every game. Versus they get up 1 goal, it's like, oh, wow.
Yeah, we might have some fun.
Maybe we'll have
right?
Hey, this is a nice spot to be
it's
in,
like almost like playing pressure free too. Like in most part, like it's kind of counterproductive to the team that actually needs the result, right? Because Charlotte's gonna go in there, like you guys mentioned, like with some pressure, but DC's like, okay, like let's have some fun. A couple players. I just think it's more of that. Like when you have nothing to lose, you'll try more. You'll do like things that you typically wouldn't, right? And so, we went into DC last year. I didn't think we were going to win that game, to be honest with you, but we actually ended up winning it, and so
DC is in a way worse spot than they were in then.
Yeah.
They weren't in a good spot then.
Yeah,
this team has lost their entire ownership group. It's a complete. It's a borderline a catastrophe of what's happening in DC right now.
Yeah, it just goes back to like that frustration.
Yeah,
you have a winnable game against Montreal. You can go, and then if we come home against Philly the last match and you won these 2 previous and whatever happens, I'm okay with it.
Yep.
Philly's shooting for supporter shield. We're trying to do a top 4. If you lose that match, I'm kind of like, okay, like you lost to the best team, quote unquote, in the East, right?
Yeah.
But you're putting yourself in a position, and right now we aren't, especially after going 9 straight wins in a row. I think that's the most frustrating part for me. Does this feel like a trend to you guys of Charlotte FC, where it's like a roller coaster, a bit like super good, hit the top of the East, it all goes downhill, super good again, and then when it just feels like everything is set, like the team doesn't want to like make that final burst?
It just goes back to what's shocking for me is almost every year at this point in the season, even with Latanzio, they finished pretty strong, and I feel like that's what was kind of different about this game against Montreal. Usually down the stretch, there's been let-ups throughout the year. Every year we've seen it. There's
that's
been
a
a time
good
where
point.
like we had a high, we had a low. There's like Charlotte FC has been an emotional roller coaster since day one. But it seemed like at this point in the season, they had kind of locked in where things were going, and it literally looked like the trajectory was going well. And they had, again, the final stretch of the season where they've tended to be strong. They finished every single season strong so far in their history. To have that kind of let up was still, that's why it was shocking in a different way than I've ever seen a Charlotte performance.
Justin?
Yeah, well, I think when you go on a 9-game, I mean, to look at the positive side of things, you go on a 9-game winning streak. In order to do that, you're going to need some lucky breaks.
Yeah.
So they got some unlucky breaks here on their losing streak, right? Hard done, just a little late on a challenge here or there, and they just make some mistakes. That's going to happen in the course of the season. Sometimes those don't get punished. Sometimes they do. Sometimes the ball falls in front of your forward and he's right there. That's just the way soccer kind of plays out. So that's the positive spin on things is, we needed some karma to even things out before we head in the playoffs when we need all the breaks we can get.
Yeah, and it feels like some players too have like dropped a little bit in their level, outside of Zaha, because I think in New York he played well. Unfortunately he missed a pen, and again this past weekend, he scored, right. He started that play, I believe, where he ended up scoring as well. And so, who's the key guy for you guys heading into DC? I'll start off with you, Justin.
I think to make the team go, actually, I think Kerwin Vargas and Toklamati, I mean, this last game they were non-existent. And if we can't score, I think that's going to be the longer we go without scoring against DC, the more confidence they're going to have. So we need to get Toklamati the ball. He needs to make something happen, and Vargas needs to get involved too. I mean, we know Zaha is going to get the ball, and he's going to hold up, and he's going to get fouled, and he's going to fall down. And sometimes it's going to be called, sometimes it's not, and he's going to get upset. That's every single game. But some games when Vargas is active and he's making the crosses and he's getting involved on the wing, we're a completely different team. And, it also kind of, he links up with Toklamati so well.
Yeah.
So when one's going, I think the other one kind of goes as well.
Yeah. I think, him and Zaha and Toklamati have developed a really special relationship, and so I think that's been key. I think we're working on doing like a chemistry article, and so I think like different areas on the pitch, and that's one that I really like, because even like this past weekend, like when they had the scruff with the goalkeeper, the first one there to defend Toklamati was Zaha. Right, I don't know if you remember that, and so it got pretty scrappy, through the whole match. And Brian said these guys need to lock in and not be so emotional. So, Brian, who's the key to this game against DC?
I honestly think, kind of a cop out here, but I think this is a big Dean Smith game. I think Dean Smith and whoever ends up being whoever wears the armband for Ashley Westwood in this situation. I'd imagine Tim Ream probably.
Yeah.
So like the combination of Dean making the right changes, setting this team up tactically different, because he's going to have to set them up tactically a little bit different, getting that right quickly out of the gate so DC has no life in this game, and then Tim Ream being able to lead the guys to victory. I think those are the two for me.
And then, and I want to touch on this too. This is a great segue for that. The depth on this team, like I think this is where, what is the type of depth that you have actually like make a difference, right? And so we were talking a little bit about this, Brian. By the face that you're making, it doesn't seem like you're too excited by the players we have available. Obviously, Archie's still young, so Leah Labat is somebody that like I've been expecting a good season from the whole year. Contrary to what Vaughn's been telling you guys, but what do you make of Charlotte FC's depth right now?
I think
headed into this game.
I think it's a problem. I think it's a problem until Pep Biel gets back. But then if he's fit and able to go 60 plus minutes, he's going to be starting. And so I don't know how many options they actually do have off the bench down the stretch in a playoff series where you have to, play potentially 3 straight games in a playoff series. I think coming playoff time, the depth is going to be a concern. Toklamati is pretty much having to go 90 minutes and without much relief, and Archie hasn't been a good alternative to actually provide much. Toklamati is going to have to pretty much go 90. Leila Bada hasn't provided much in replacement of Kerwin Vargas, and Wilfred Zaha is going to be out there the whole time, right? So you don't really have an attacking alternative to those guys. I don't think you have an alternative to change of pace if Biel needs to come off after 60 minutes. Like if Biel is starting in the playoffs and he can only go 60 minutes, how many goals do you need? Like, right? Can you come back from a game? You know, so like, I think those are questions that are going to come up in a playoff series. That's a problem. If you have to sub off BL for somebody for 30 minutes, who's going to kind of carry the torch and be able to finish that game off if it's tied or they're down a goal?
Yeah.
You know, these are the kind of situations and just game states that I definitely think Charlotte are going to have some concerns with. They're really going to have to be able to, I think, get out of the gate quick and defend leads.
Yeah. Justin, what do you make? I think this game is going to teach us a lot about that, right?
Well, I mean, that's another positive of this is we can teach us
Mr. Positivity today.
I'm just trying to be positive about things. You know, I've had some tough breaks from my teams I cheer for, so I have to maintain a positive, outlook on life. But I mean, you get some of these guys some extra minutes here in this game against DC that maybe you're going to need Petkovic to come in because I mean he's shown flashes that he can score and make plays. Now, has he shown when he starts that he can play consistently? No.
Yeah.
But he's shown something that we need, and we need any help we can get off the bench that creates. It's a difference maker. We don't really have that. I mean, Abada. I mean, you can take him off the bench. I mean, he adds some speed and he runs around, but I mean, I don't know that he adds a lot. But on the positive, you have a DP off the bench.
He's good at this.
Yeah, you are phenomenal at spinning the positives. I think, like, if you look at it for what it's worth, right, you have, like you said, I was just going to mention that, a DP on the bench and a guy you paid millions for in Petkovic, right?
Yeah.
But, like, these guys really have to start making a difference. And I think it's just – I don't want to be critical of Archie because he's just come in, and so you have to give him time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's something I asked about, like, okay, like if you're going to bring another young player, right, versus maybe a 33-year-old veteran that kind of knows, like, how to sniff a goal out, you have to give them time, right? And so I think it was okay until these last two games where, like, okay, well, now we truly need somebody that can come off and do something and make something happen.
Yeah, this isn't against Archie at all. This is a tough spot to come into.
Yep.
And we've talked about a veteran striker since Ajiman and Toklamati were both together still as a striker. We've talked about this since preseason. So I think just not having that extra guy, that extra name, that extra just experience level to kind of come in and help this team in a tight spot, I think that's a piece that's lacking. And I think if you look around the league, especially with some of these other teams higher up in the standings, they kind of found those guys in the summer. And so I think that's one concern down the stretch is just, did Charlotte find that replacement? I would bet that they haven't found that, like, that alternative, that other X factor. And I think a lot of these other teams have.
Yeah, and I think, at least from the striker position, they're betting on the long term, which is fine. But then these are the moments where you're like, okay, well, where does that difference maker come from the bench?
Yeah.
Well, I'll go more positive.
You don't say.
when they were making the choices, you got to remember we were on a pretty bad way.
Yep.
Like, so we were looking for the future. Like, all right, let's build. We knew heading into the season depth was going to be an issue. We needed another transfer window or two to really build, and we needed some of those younger guys that we've signed with Crown Legacy to come along. But I think when we came along to the transfer window, we weren't on a 9-game winning streak at that point. Were we really looking like, hey, we're going to get top 4, or are we realistically like, all right, let's get into the playoffs, let's build. We got someone next year to come in behind Toklamati. We build them up. It's a wrong decision maybe now, but at the same time, Tiger Smalls hasn't developed into anything that we can contribute, and that's been a problem as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's the wrong decision. It's just a decision that right now is affecting us. And so that's how I kind of look at it, from a little bit of a different perspective. So.
One other name I do think we should mention that we didn't, because there's 2 open midfield spots, is Bayou Koulibaly.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Right?
U22
he just
player.
got signed up as a U22 player from Crown Legacy. So, if there's one guy that maybe just could have an opportunity, who hasn't had a chance yet, it would be wild to see him start. I don't think we would see him from the start, but still, that's just one other name to throw out.
It's a good point because, we haven't seen him at all.
No.
And so.
But he literally filled that one spot that could have gone.
Yeah. That's a great point.
A veteran attacker.
I totally forgot about him, but You're right. And these are the moments where, like, if you think of your Patrick Ajimans, you eat on Toklamatis, when these times open up, that's when you come into these teams and make a difference. Like you said, your Eric Williamsons of the world, like, these are the moments that you guys have to prove your worth and weight in this squad.
Yep.
So
See, Cisco, he says I'm not locked in, dude.
nice. Okay, we'll end it with some score predictions. What are we thinking? And I'll start off with you, Justin, Mr. Positivity.
Yeah, Mr. Positivity is 2-0. I think we can. I think we can keep a clean sheet, get a couple in.
Nice, I like it. Who's scoring for you?
I'm going to say Vargas is going to put one in. Zaha will probably put one in. Well, I'm going to say Toklamati.
Okay, the two guys that
I'm going to stick with a nice fluid. There's going to be a pass probably from Zaha or Vargas into Toklamati. He'll tap it in, and Vargas will score one.
Nice, Brian.
Yeah, I think they get a big response against poor opposition. I think they win 4-0.
Dang. Okay.
I know I was pretty
That's
negative
cool.
about them a lot, but they're gonna respond well.
You
I
just
think,
said
to
that
this
they
game.
were emotionally immature.
I mean,
you said
I
they're
don't
blaming
think-
the refs. You said
I don't
Nah, I'm
think you
kidding.
guys realize how bad this. I mean, I know. Again, we talk about the Montreal. I'm setting the stage up for just a really gloomy Sunday.
This is a
what I'm
bulletin
doing.
board podcast for DC United.
Ever since you went camping, never mind.
But I mean, DC is in dire straits. As bad a team as there is in the East, so they should be able to dominate no matter who they throw out there.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I like a 2-0. You know, I'll give it a Zaha goal again. You know, because he's been phenomenal, so he deserves, another goal. And I think our old friend Mr. Own Goal will figure out a way to show up. So you said DC's bad. Let's see how bad they are. And so I did also want to ask you, Justin, what do you make of Grealish at Everton? Just side note, because Dean's been trying to get him over here, he went over there.
I was actually late leaving my office because I was watching the Everton game from this afternoon. So I was watching it, and it ended about 7:20. I was like, I better get over here. He adds such a different dynamic to. The whole Everton team's kind of switched gears. They actually have players who can create. But seeing someone who can create with their feet the way he does and see the game, it changes the whole dynamic of a team.
Nice.
And just the attitude. So
you like the new stadium too?
Yeah, I want to go there, but I haven't gotten there yet.
Nice, awesome. With that said, Justin, where can people find you at, or where can they reach out to you?
Well, they can go to our website, jcolaw.com. We're on Instagram. I'm trying to grow our Instagram here.
They're doing a phenomenal job.
But just go to our website, Instagram, reach out. Glad to help you out.
Perfect. And Mr. Brian?
Yeah, you can find me on X at Bam Mauer Media. You can find all my written content, topbin90.com, collegesoccernews.com. You can find me everywhere.
Yeah. Nice. Jorge Gonzalez, topbin90 on all our socials. Hopefully when we do this again, we'll be on a positive run again. With that said, over and out.